Hello, Game Ninja Maniacs. I debated over. Well, let me welcome you to the Game Dojo. First of all, you know where you are. You know what we do. This is the land that Gaming built. You know what we about, and everybody is controversial right now. And I wasn't going to make a video. I went back and forth over it, but you know what? It is what it is, and since I've been real, I'm gonna be real, and I'm just gonna say it real to you. This week we lost a lot of people. Some people choose to focus on some over the others, more of the others, but at the end of the day, I'm an old school bruh, and we lost people. And anytime an old school person gets lost, you feel that shit, for real, 100%. Having said that, Theo Huxtable, Malcolm Jamal Warner, rest in peace. That shit I feel too. I just got finished talking about the Gordon Gartrell on my I did the Cosbys on my review, 24K reviews. Ozzy Osbourne, I liked your music. I bumped to it many times. Sad that you just did a farewell concert. You out this piece too. I feel that shit too. Chuck Mangione, a lot of people know his music, didn't know the man. There is a horn song that you can hear. Boom, 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 boom. If you ever grew up and you heard WJJZ 106.1, you heard Chuck Mangione. Matter of fact, I guarantee you 97% of you have heard Chuck Mangione's songs, and you didn't know who he was, what his life was about. The man was a musical legend. Rest in peace. We lost Chuck Mangione too. Connie Francis, that's another person. I know a lot of you ain't familiar with her music. I'm familiar with her music. Matter of fact, if you guys watch The Craft, they talk about Connie Francis in it. The scene is with Fairuza Balk and her mom when they move it up to the rich place and they in the hotel and she get a jukebox full of nothing but Connie Francis CDs. You gonna say something?
Yeah, I was about to say what you said, but you already said it for us.
Yeah, I have a few of her songs on my playlist as well. Rest in peace. And then I want to get to the most controversial person, Hulk Hogan. Terry Bollea. Okay, look, you are entitled to your opinion. You entitled to your feelings. You entitled to feel how you want to feel. 100%. I ain't going to take that. I ain't going to deny that. And I ain't going to debate that with people in the comment section. If you come with craziness and evilness, then you just get banned and you get ripped off my channel. Period. I don't care. I'm not playing kid games on that. 100%. I'm speaking to the grown folks. I'm speaking to anybody 35 to 30 years old, maybe in 40, 50, 60 years old. I'm talking to the grown folks. I'm talking to the real people that understand what I'm saying and what I'm talking about. Look, recently, Hollywood, movies, television, music, video games, hell, books, everybody is being ripped apart and fucking splattered before our eyes when it comes to the artist and the art. Me on my channel, I've always said it, I will always say it, I will always forever feel this way. You don't have to like the artist to like the art. You can separate the artist from the art. No matter what people make you believe, no matter what people try to push, no matter what agenda people try to run down on you, you are entitled to feel your feelings. And yo, if you feel sad for the loss of an icon who inspired wrestling, you could go back to the 70s with AWA. You could go back to the times with NWA on TBS. You could go back to the first WWF telecast. Hulk Hogan, whether you like it or not, changed the face of wrestling. You would not have WWE today without him. When you go back and you look at history legends, how many of y'all knew Tiny Zeus Lester was a wrestler? He wrestled Hulk Hogan. How many people y'all knew about Macho Man in his real life? How you knew about Ric Flair in his real life? How you know about Booker T in his real life and Stevie Ray? And why didn't Stevie Ray go with Booker T over to WWF? Like, there's so many things intricately you can talk about in this. But the one thing we're not going to glare over is Hulk Hogan. He inspired 90% of the demographic that follow wrestling today. I don't give a damn what you think about his life, talked out of turn. Hell, if you want to talk about the N-word, how many of y'all were there in the telecast where Booker T called Hulk Hogan the N-word? Exactly. Ask Booker T how he feel about that. Ask Booker T how he feel about Hogan. Ask Booker T how he feel about the whole situation. It don't get much blacker than Booker T. All I'm saying is you are entitled to feel your feelings. I'm entitled to feel mine. And we are celebrating the legacy of the icon, not the person, the icon that changed most of the lives of very, very, very old men nowadays. We grew up wrestling buddies. We grew up with NWA, AWA, WCW, WWF. We grew up in a network. This man has branched all of those. He has branched all of those for more than 40 years, more than 4 decades. You talking about the NWO. You talking about Thunder in Paradise, that whack-ass action show that came on after Nitro on WCW before Mortal Kombat. We talking about the wrestling buddies. We're talking about the Hulkamaniac figures. We're talking about Hulkamania. We're talking about the first person to ever bring shit talking to the public domain. Do you remember that back in the day with Mean Gene Okerlund? You know Mean Gene, all the Hulkamaniacs. That's right. That is what we're talking about. We're talking about the legacy that inspired a lot of children, men, boys, and girls. And whether you want to or not, whether you feel it or not, he changed the sport of wrestling forever.
Hell,
I don't give a damn who he was in his personal life. What was you saying?
Hell, he even did an episode of Baywatch. That's how big he was. He was on one of the biggest shows in the 90s and the late 80s.
Yeah. So, like I said, I still rock Puffy music. Don't mean I have to like Puffy. Do I know who Vincent Van Gogh was as a person to like his art? Do I have to love Mariah Carey, the artist, to listen to Fantasy? Do I have to love who ODB was to enjoy his music? Do I have to know who Arnold Schwarzenegger was or Carl Weathers was as a human being to appreciate their films? No, I don't. We are talking about, think of a superhero. When you go back in the day and you look at comic books and you look at comic book movies and cartoons, these things inspired you. These things raised you. These things changed your life forever. Looking back on them with adult eyes, your perspective may change. But in those moments, in those times, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we give respect where respect is due. And I'm telling you, even me, NWO, I cheered the most for them. And from that group NWO, we've lost Scott Hall. We lost Hulk Hogan. Buff Bagwell just recently, in the last week or two, got amputated for his legs. That only leave Diesel and X-Pac. And we heard negative stuff about X-Pac in China and Joni Lawler with sex tapes and stuff. Look. What I'm saying is you don't have to love the person to love the brand, to love the icon, to love what they inspire and do. Some of the best people in this entire world are pieces of shit behind doors, but they inspire. And that is what people follow, the inspiration. And unfortunately, it doesn't always have to match up with the brand. There are very few people who talk the talk and walk the walk and go there. And the people who talk the talk and walk the walk and go there, they're unalived because they stand for a narrative that is not represented in our culture, in our life, and in society today. And it's real. 100%, it's real. But to sit there to deny that I was a Hulkamaniac fan, to the red and yellow, to when I am a real I have never done the ear thing. I've never done the pose. I've never done that. I've never done the leg drop in the park with my friends playing wrestling games. That's bullshit. And I'm not going to be one of those people who fake. And just because the narrative is talking about them, I'm supposed to talk about them negatively. Fuck that. This is my channel. You don't like it, you can leave. I'm talking about what inspired me as a child. Hulk Hogan. I saw him in, what was that movie with Zeus that he was in? Was it No Holds Bar? I think it was No Holds Bar. It might have been No Holds Bar. Give me 1 second. I gotta check that up. Give me 1 second. So yeah, it was No Holds Bar with Tommy Lister, who's also passed away. If you don't know who Zeus, who was known back then by his wrestling name, that was Debo from Friday. For y'all people who don't know who Zeus was. Yes, Debo from Friday. He was a wrestler. You can go back to Hulk Hogan. You can go back to Hulk Hogan and Mr. T being in Rocky, what is it, Rocky 3? I believe it's Rocky 3. It might be Rocky 4. No. Rocky 4 is when he fought the Russian. Rocky 3. The name Hulk Hogan is different from Terry. They're separate entities. And you guys have to understand that. How many of y'all show love to Clark Kent over Superman? You don't. Superman is Superman, Clark Kent is Clark Kent. And I know they're inherently the same person, but they're completely different. And they separate the narrative for a reason. There's a reason why a superhero has a persona rather than just themselves. Because as an icon, they can inspire where the human being will always fall flat. Look, people will lust over people. Some of the biggest stars and biggest actors and musicians and things that I grew up on, now I have to look at them through different eyes because the world ripped these people apart, these men, women, and children apart. And I'm left with what? Not liking my childhood, not enjoying the things that I saw growing up, not enjoying the movies and the TV shows and the music that inspired me. Fuck that. I'm not doing that. This world doesn't want you to be happy. It doesn't want you to smile. It doesn't want you to have a childhood. It doesn't want you to remember a childhood. It wants to replace all of that. It wants to change all of that. But when it comes to my icons leaving and passing away, oh, you best believe here in the Game Dojo, we gonna honor them. And let me tell you something. Just as easily as I did a leg drop, I did a figure 4 leg lock. Just as easy as I did the elbow, I did the Macho Man elbow off the top of a picnic table onto somebody on the ground. I did the Stone Cold Stunner. How many of y'all followed Steve Austin after the allegations with his wife? How many of y'all stuck with the WWF/WWE after Owen Hart fell to his death, pushed into a stunt that he didn't want to do? How many of y'all stayed with Goldberg after wrestlers said he didn't know how to wrestle and actually hurt people? There is a different narrative between real life and entertainment. And that's why WWF is now WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment. It's because it's a show. It's because it's no different from a movie. It's no different from a video game. It's no different from a song that you listen to. I got news for you. Some of the biggest, gangster, strongest rappers that you guys love to listen to and dance to, that ain't them. That's their persona. That ain't them. Like I said, very small likely chances will you find the people that walk the walk and talk the talk, and the people that do the same and their narrative is who they really are. They come into a lot of problems in their life. They come into a lot of problems with the media. They come into a lot of problems with everything else in their world because the persona, I'll put it simply to you business wise. You have the person and then you have the LLC. The LLC protects the person. The person is now different from the LLC. Do you know why? Because if this gets sued, this person isn't affected. Why do you think the WWE copyrights names? Why do you think if you're separated from certain wrestling companies, you can no longer use that name? Because they pay for the brand. They pay for the name, for the icon. Hell, The Undertaker isn't even The Undertaker. And I'm going to tell you this because a lot of y'all don't know. Y'all want to talk about y'all wrestling fans and y'all go back in the day? Y'all ain't wrestling fans. How many of y'all remember Undertaker versus Undertaker? They did that live in front of us. There was a fake Undertaker that was wrestling as the Undertaker, and then there was the Undertaker. And then they had a match with Undertaker versus Undertaker. Spoiler alert, the Undertaker won that. What I'm trying to say is, don't let people push you into a corner where you can't feel your feelings and you can't feel your emotions. If you want to shed a tear for the Hulk, do it. Nobody has a heaven to put you in or a hell to put you in. Understand that. And like I said, I'm going to celebrate Hulk Hogan the way that I did growing up. And I did it mainly in the wrestling games. I was very lucky to see a few wrestling events in my life. I was one of the fair people that went down to Cooper River in Camden and saw a wrestling event in Cooper River Park. I met Terry Funk. I met Mick Foley. I got to see Diesel in the Cherry Hill Mall when they were signing autographs. I got to see Paul White. I got to see Ric Flair. I got to see some of my favorite wrestlers. And yes, one time in my life, took a trip, Madison Square Garden, got to see the Hulkster. And let me tell you something. So many of y'all can bullshit, backlit, and stop. But when I Am a Real American came on that Titantron, and he walked out, the sound of the crowd that roared and cheered this man on, that shit can't be extinguished. Not by a word, not by a bad deed, not by anything that separates the person from the art. And let me tell you something. I only heard that sound one more time, and it moved me. WCW had an infusion of a group of WWF wrestlers called the New World Order. That's right. NWO for life. I know so many fans out there are NWO fans. Scott Hall, survey time. Did you come to see WCW or did you come to see the NWO? Now, if you may remember, during that time, the NWO split into red, and then you had the white, you had the Wolf Pack, and you had the Latino World Order, the LWO. You had a lot of these different factions. And then Hulk Hogan disappeared off the scene. He was known as Hollywood Hogan. He was the asshole that everybody loved to hate. And you was able to hate him, and able to hate him well. But he was the man you loved to hate. Everybody hated Hollywood Hogan. I was there when they beat up Macho Man Randy Savage with Slim Jims before a Slim Jim commercial and told him to snap into it as they beat him on his back. He joined the NWO. I was there when they jumped Sting when he thought he was the Crow. He joined NWO. I was there with Buff Bagwell and so many different other wrestlers who joined the NWO. It was the coolest thing to do. The merchandise, the show, the New World Order. It felt like being an outcast. And that's what they were called when they first started, the Outsiders. It felt like it was a movement that you wanted to take forward of. And every single last time they entered the building, people supported the NWO even though they were the bad guys. Now, Hogan played both face and heel all the time. All the time. But when he left as Hollywood Hogan, and people hated him, spray painting on people's backs and destroying the studios, and Eric Bischoff joining it and all this horrible stuff. But when he came back, when they announced that Hollywood Hogan would be coming back, everybody expected to hear the NWO theme. Instead, what they heard was I Am a Real American. And when that sound started playing, it pushed me back to Madison Square Garden. It pushed me back to when I heard the crowd fucking lose it. And I'm going to tell you something. I lost it myself. Because I had hated Hogan. I had hated Hollywood Hogan. I hated this bastard. I still liked Six or X-Pac. I still liked Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, and I like Kevin Nash Diesel. I still like them, but I hated Hogan. I hated Hogan. I hated the fact that he did a leg drop and you couldn't get up from it. Everybody else has a leg drop in wrestling. He does it, you can't get up. The big foot, the big leg drop, the big elbow. Everything was the big and you couldn't get up from it, and it was amazing. But when everybody was ready to boo, and they was booing Hogan. They was booing Hollywood Hogan when he came out. But when the music started and the arena went dark, and when it comes crashing down and it hurts so bad, that's when the people lost it. Go back, Google it, look at it. Look at the reaction of the crowd, not just in the building, but worldwide, when Hulkamania came back on WCW, when the red and the yellow stood up again. Hulk Hogan with the fake leather boa, the ripping of his shirt off, and it proved a point. It proved how strong Hulkamania was with its fans. Nobody cheered Terry. They cheered Hulk. They cheered Hulk Hogan. And today, right now, in this space, I'm allow y'all to be vulnerable. Come to the comments. Tell me your favorite Hogan moments. Comment down below. You can be vulnerable here. I ain't judging you. I don't judge nobody. Like I said, I don't have a hell to put you in. I don't have a heaven to put you in. There is no judgment here.
I just thought of somebody who got canceled and it come out the allegate. He's still very much alive, and unfortunately he's not back in the industry, which he should be, being the allegations were false. Kevin Spacey. They said some horrible. I think it was the actor Anthony Rapp that said something terrible about him. Come to find out, it wasn't even real. It was fake. He took it back, and he's still not even back in the industry, which he deserves his spot back where he needs to be.
Yeah, but we giving light to Hogan today.
Well, I know, but
I know. No, I'm saying I feel you, and that's my whole main point. My whole main point is everybody has an opinion. Everybody likes to jump on these hate-mongering speeches, and everybody likes to jump into these positions where they just go with the crowd and they go with what everybody's saying and what everybody's doing. We not going to do that. Like, a man lost his life, and just like I celebrated Malcolm Jamal Warner, Theo Huxtable, just like I'll celebrate Ozzy Osbourne, just like I'll celebrate Connie Francis, just like I'll celebrate Chuck Mangione, just like I'll celebrate Hulk Hogan. Notice I didn't say Terry, I said Hulk Hogan. And I got news for y'all. Live your life. You only live once, and then you gone. I got news for you. Everybody is gonna die. And people love to talk about people when they ain't there to defend themselves. But I'm gonna tell you something. I ain't that person. I never will be, and I'll die on that hill. Understand that. You allowed to feel you. Don't ever let nobody make you think you ain't allowed to feel you. And that goes out for every aspect of your life. Look, people are people. They're human beings. That ain't the real person you see in that movie. Keanu Reeves ain't John Wick. He ain't walking around murdering people. That ain't John Wick. That's Keanu Reeves. I just realized that recently by rewatching Game of Thrones. I hated Joffrey. If I met that kid in real life, I'd have problems with him over what he does on screen, which is great acting. Think about it. If somebody can make you hate them that much, they did a good job. And if somebody can make you love them that much, they did a great job. Growing up, we loved Hulk Hogan. We loved the red and yellow. We all tore off our shirts. We all danced to the music. We all did the ear thing. We all did the pose. We all did everything. We all did everything. We did that because we emulated something that inspired us. And I got news for you. It doesn't matter where it comes from if it positively influences you. People are going to be people, and at the end of the day, nobody's perfect. Nobody is perfect. We're all sexist, biased, racist, even at times when you don't think you are. And the fact that you think you're perfect just shows the part of how flawed you really are. We're all sinners. No pun intended for the movie, but we all are. We all make mistakes. We all have our high points. We all have our low points. And some of us sell our souls just to be in the spotlight. I got news for you. Did I know Michael Jackson as a man? No. I'm finding that out more and more from the people who hung with him. How many of y'all knew that he pulled up to Chris Tucker's house in an Escalade blasting 50 Cent up in the club? Y'all don't know that because y'all don't know these people. You know what you see. So you don't know anybody personally when it comes to the space of television, TV, radio, movies. You might want to think you know them. You might want to think you feel them, but you don't know them as individuals. So you have a choice to either love or hate the art or love or hate the person, but there is a distinction between the two. So today, here in the Game Dojo, this video is both going to go on my 24K, and this is going to go on my Game Ninja Network. Today, in the Game Dojo, we are going to celebrate the icon that inspired the world of wrestling. Because whether you were in Africa or in Canada or in Europe or in Asia or in the middle of Russia, everybody knows the icon Hulk Hogan. I don't care what you thought about his real life. The icon is beyond words. That is what we're celebrating today. And that is what we will dedicate today's video to. Terry, I don't know Terry. I know Hulk Hogan. Same reason why, what was his name in real life? Damn it, I'm trying to think about it. Randy Savage wasn't even Macho Man's real name. I don't know who he was. Steve Austin. I think that really is his name, Steve Austin. I'm pretty sure his name is Steve Austin. But him as a real life person, go watch his shows. Go talk to the people who know him. Go talk to the people who are around him all the time. See, everybody wants to judge somebody based off of one individual or this and that, or a moment of darkness or a moment of levity or a moment of clarity. But some of these people who are around him 6 days a week to 7 days a week, 6 to 7, maybe in 8 months out the year, I think they would know that person best. And they're the ones celebrating his life. What's his name? Mario Pofo? Randy Mario Pofo. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I know who Macho Man Randy Savage is. But Mario Pofo, I don't know. And that's what you guys need to understand. You can celebrate the art and not the artist. Or you can celebrate the artist and not the art. Let me tell you something. I don't like Steven Seagal as a person. Love his movies. I don't like Van Damme as a person. But as a martial arts, he has my honor and respect.
Stone Cold Steve Austin's real name was Stephen James Anderson.
Steve Anderson. By those of you who didn't hear, she was saying Stone Cold Steve Austin's real name is Steve Anderson, which sounds like he works in accounting.
Stephen James Anderson.
Stephen James Anderson, which sounds like he works in accounting. Doesn't sound like he's actually putting the stunner on people. But anyway, like I was saying, understand it is okay to be inspired by a symbol, inspired by an icon, inspired by an ideal, inspired by a message, rather than the person that presents it, because they are not the important ones. If Hulkamania made you tear off your shirt as a child, if it made you stand up and clap, if it made you yell at your TV screen when he was the first person to lift up Yokozuna and slam him, or that might have been Lex Luger. I know Lex Luger did it too. I think Hulk Hogan beat Yokozuna too. I want to say Hulk Hogan was the first person to pick up Yokozuna. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is inspiration. The perspiration behind it. Inspiration. The thing that makes you who you are, what you are, to live on, to fight, inspired. Do you know how many people, how many soldiers followed bad leaders because they believed in a victory that they didn't even know what the true enemy was? They didn't even know what the true point of it was, but they followed in spite of it. They followed orders or people die. You have to understand that there is a difference between Terry and Hulk Hogan. They're two different people. They're two different entities. And it is okay for you to celebrate one over the others. And you know what? That is all I'm going to say on the matter. Because everybody, I see people afraid to celebrate his life. And that's fucked up. Because the man is dead. Look, I don't care who he was as a person. I care who he was as an icon that inspired me as a child. If we go back and look at all the people that inspired us as children into adulthood, I guarantee you're not going to be happy with the actual people behind those models. Don't act like Hulk Hogan was just the only person. He's not. And tell you the truth, look, I watched Seinfeld. I think Kramer is funny as hell. He went to a comedy show. He dropped the N-word. Do I hate the man? I don't like that moment. It wasn't his best moment, but I still laughed my ass off at Kramer. It doesn't make you two-faced. You got to understand something. Artworks, and artist are three different things. I got news for you. I loved Pepe Le Pew as a kid in Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes, almost all of us watched growing up that are my age. But as you get older, you realize Pepe Le Pew was kind of a rapist. Yeah, I'm going to say it. He kind of is. He chased the cat around and took it by force. So as I watched Pepe Le Pew as an adult, I'm like, what the hell? I don't remember this as a kid. Because you didn't see it as a kid. You had innocence in your eyes. The world had not beaten you down. The world had not shown you what the world really is. You still had an imagination. You still had the ability to dream. You still had the ability to look at this world through rose-colored goggles. And the world ain't what you thought it was when you get older. But for a few precious moments as a child, you were allowed to dream. You were allowed to imagine. You were allowed to inspire to be whoever you wanted to be growing up. And that is the point of all of this. Is icons. That's what they are. Icons. Iconic people. Let me tell you something. John Cena. I never liked as a wrestler. Never liked him as a wrestler. Never stood behind him with the hand and the you don't know me and all that shit. Never stood like him. Never liked him as a wrestler.
You can't see me. The time is now.
Yeah, I never liked him. The moment he started acting, I started liking him as an actor.
I can't say the same. I liked him as a wrestler and I love him as an actor. I just love him as a person in general.
But that's your point. I don't need to shame you on your point of view against John Cena. You liked him as a wrestler. I prefer Rob Van Dam. You probably never watched Rob Van Dam wrestle. You probably never watched ECW.
I probably did. I just don't remember because
See?
I was too little.
But he's not memorable enough to be in your mind. But he's my favorite wrestler of all times. So, like I said, it all boils down to the personal experience of the person celebrating the icon. And Terry died of a heart attack. He had diseased body. He made some decisions. How many of y'all knew he was baptized not too long ago? Came to God. The man was wrestling with a lot. And for those of you who don't believe, that's on you and that's in your heart. Like I said, that is a personal relationship with you and this world and the creator of it. Because human beings didn't sit down and create this world. No matter what you believe, no matter what you want to understand, they didn't make it. And evolution, you can live for 1,000 years. You'll never see a tree evolved into being a pencil. Some work had to be done. Some manipulation had to be done. And like I said, there is a lot of realism in this world in spaces where they want to allow you to be happy. They want to allow you to smile. They want to allow you to grow. They want to allow you to feel your feelings. But when somebody loses their life, if we ever stop that ability in us to kill that emotionality, then we cease to be humans. And this is what we're talking about. Everybody talks about Terry and some things he said and how he felt and some stuff he went through because we had a chance to look at some of his personal life. How many of y'all know who Sylvester Stallone is as a person? How many of y'all know he started out in porn? The Italian Stallion. Y'all didn't know that. Does it make you look at him differently? It shouldn't. How many of you guys look at your favorite actors and actresses and rappers and rap stars? Oh, whatchamacallit went to jail because he shot 3 people. I don't think he would do that. Do you know him as a person? No, you don't. Some of these people are real. They're really who they portray. Some of them ain't playing gangster. Some of them really are. Some of them ain't playing heroes. They really are. And I want to take this time to speak on one more thing in the world of professional wrestling. There is a lot of speculation over a lot of wrestlers' deaths. What they lived for, what they died for, how they personally lived their lives, how they publicly lived their lives. But if they inspire me, my children, the world's children, the world, if they inspire anybody to move on for another day, to rip their shirt off and think that they too can drop a leg drop on their life, on their boss, in their world to survive one more day, then that person deserves to be celebrated for saving a life. And in that aspect, no question, without any equivocity, Hulk Hogan changed the lives of billions of people. From the 70s through the 80s, through the 90s, to the 2000s, to the 2010s, and the 2020s. That's the definition of a man's life. His work may not be equal to his personal life, but his work speaks for itself. I don't know who Ric Flair is as a human being, but I know who Ric Flair was when he was with the Horsemen. I don't know who Sting is as a human being. I know who Sting is in wrestling. Rey Mysterio, I know who he is as a wrestler. Chyna, Joanie Laurer, I knew who she was as a wrestler. Didn't know who she was as a person. But if you talk to the people who live lives with these people, if you look at the world that surrounds these people, you'll see that their life is different from the persona that inspires people. And that is where celebration needs to be recognized. Because there are nothing to follow anymore. You guys may look at your wrestlers you have now as their regular names. There's no persona, there's no attitude. That's the reason why I stopped watching wrestling. I just don't have it in me anymore because it's not the same thing I grew up on. It changed. It changed too much. There are no superheroes anymore in wrestling to me. I grew up on an age where Andre the Giant, who may not have been the greatest person in real life, but in wrestling to me, he seemed like he was Zeus. I looked at the Ultimate Warrior, who had more muscles than anything I had ever seen before, who ran down to the ring and ran around the ring, whether he was a drug addict or not, whether he was on steroids or not. I don't need to understand that about my heroes. I spend my entire life, over 40 years, almost 50 years, watching my heroes torn down in front of me and disgraced. I'm not doing it no more. I'm not dealing with it no more. And I'm not accepting it. I can love the artist over the artwork. And I can love the artwork over the artist. Like I said before, I love Arnold, but he's been in some stinker movies that I didn't like. How many of y'all saw Hercules in New York? Do y'all know what that is? No. Don't judge Arnold Schwarzenegger's body of work by one movie.
I did, but I didn't see it.
Exactly. You can't judge somebody's worth over one mistake, but it seems that you can destroy somebody over a mistake. Like everybody on this planet is perfect. They're not. Neither are our heroes. They are flawed. They make mistakes. They have moments of darkness. And that is one of the strongest messages in this world. Because there are people who don't see a way out, people who can't see a way out, and they let this world beat them into nothing until they unalive themselves. I have friends, I have family members, I have people that I've lost, so many, it's almost countless to think of. But as soldiers, we move on, we march on, we close ranks, and we celebrate our dead. I got news for you. There's many military leaders that weren't great people, but they won victories. Victories that gave us liberties that we would not have based off their backs. So you don't have to celebrate a man for being great. You don't have to celebrate a man for his life's work. But if they do something that is noteworthy for inspiring generations, then it's worth celebration when that person falls. There's a billion wrestlers in this world. There was only one Hulk Hogan. There's a billion wrestlers in this world. There's only one Stone Cold. There's a billion wrestlers in this world. There was only one Yokozuna, Nasty Boys, Dudley Boys. Rob Van Dam, Sabu. We just lost Sabu recently. Most of the people that I heard didn't even know who Sabu was. But you call yourself wrestling fans. What is a man's life worth? His attributes, his alkalides, his victories. Don't judge somebody by their defeats. Judge them by their victories. And in that, Hulk Hogan won the lives and the hearts of billions of people all across this world. And that deserves recognition. So today, in the videos that you see that follow this, we will honor not the man, but the body of work that created a hero, an inspiration to so many young men, women, boys, and girls. I had my Hulkamania vitamins. I ripped off my shirt. I did the elbow drop. I came out and did the hand thing. Listening to that, I watched him as Thunder Lips in Rocky, Suburban Commando. I watched him in Thunder in Paradise, when most of y'all didn't even know that show existed. I followed him in WCW, in the MDL and NWO as Hollywood Hogan. People's lives matter. Celebrate people by their victories, not their defeats. Because if you flip that mirror around on yourself, understand, you don't have your greatest moments. And in some of your darkest moments, you didn't react the best either. These are people. They're human beings. They're not perfect. They make mistakes. But their life is still worth their life. Remember that. Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. You inspired an icon, and you inspired me. Thank you for my childhood.